coach. And for VCU, Ryan Odom in his second season would love to get the Rams to the NCAA tournament. They've won a lot of games. They're playing excellent basketball, especially, Chris, because they're finally sharing the ball and moving it in the way that he hopes that they would.
Yeah, and when they do that, I mean, they're one of the, in my opinion, and we're both high on this team, Jordan, one of the best teams in the country. They score, they defend, great disposition about them. Obviously, they're unbeatable at home, but this team is pretty special to watch.
The Dukes win the tip. They come in 8-8 in the A-10, and here's the early drive to the glass. It's good. Eli Wilborn for the first 2 points of the game.
Yeah, that's surprising, going straight at the shot blocker, Luke Bamboyan. One of the keys I have to this game is paint points. That's what VCU is going to have to protect against, because the Dukes are try to get in there early and often.
Duquesne coming off an 85-68 victory at home over George Mason. Just put together an excellent game altogether. Shulga stepping back, fading away, shot no good, and now it is Cam Crawford bringing it down. And him being in the lineup here, Chris, has really freed up Dinkins to be more of a pure shooter.
It does, and then again, Dinkins can score either way. Look at that defense there by Russell. There's a foul there.
And then a foul by Luke Bamboye, about 45 feet away from the bucket. And let's go ahead and check out our keys to the game here. Chris, what are you eyeing on?
Sharing the rock, you mentioned and touched upon it. When they share the rock, they're virtually unbeatable. Defend the paint. That's what Duquesne's going to try to do, get the paint. Duquesne has to control the tempo. I don't think they can run with the Rams, even though they're at home, and they're going to have to be physical on the glass, because we're talking for this game. VCU's double digit on the offensive glass. You got to box these guys out.
Philip Russell, a lot of ball pressure up top. They go inside, and it's Netchis who hits the two. And so Jakub Netchis has been playing better as of late. That's Duquesne up 4-0.
Just smart basketball. Drew Joyce, excellent basketball mind. Just say, this is the way we have to win. And you know, these guys right here, they know the way they have to win, making almost 10 threes a game. Mr. Russell.
So Russell hits the three. Makes it a one-point game, and then you're going to see this full court pressure. But one more look at the last two buckets for Duquesne.
They're just smart because they know they can get the switches. They're going to have the size. And that just goes up. Don't shy away from contact, even though the shot blocker's in there.
And a foul on Russell.
Two fouls.
Now 2 fouls. Whistled.
It's too aggressive.
Against VCU in the early going here.
Forces Coach Odom to go to his bench early. And trust me, he's coming in with the 6th man of the year, Zeb Jackson. This kid is absolutely fantastic. He's bigger, he's long, athletic, and he's shooting a 3 at a higher clip this year.
So 2 fouls already on Russell. And you wonder how VCU will adjust at that point on. But you mentioned Jackson coming in, who started 35 of 36 games last year. You see Dinkins really fall backwards near mid-court. The way that VCU's just extended this offense right now.
Yeah, they're really trying to do a great job on him. He's 6 threes last game. Look at
Wilborn goes up, a collision in midair. No whistle. Well defended by the Rams. They'll push it down the floor as Shulga.
Jordan, you look like you in your old football days.
Well, a lot of contact and nothing to show for it.
Going in there, not afraid to go down the middle and take a hit. Man.
Dukes get the stop. Crawford whips it over. Dinkins up top.
See the alertness to Dinkins. Again, not going to allow him to get going. 6 threes the last game. His career high.
Wilborn to the corner. That 3 is no good as Matus Wronski getting his first shot attempt up. Here's Jack Clark, who's been terrific for VCU over the last 4 games. Shulga back up top. Jackson pump fake. Sets his feet. Shulga, he'll try a triple, and he hits it. And the Rams take the 2-point lead.
You mentioned, we talked about it. We've been talking about it ad nauseum, how these guys share the basketball. That's why it's one of the keys. When they share the basketball and they pass with love, it is hard. I'm just telling you, when good players pass to each other, they're hard to beat.
So Duquesne, who started this game off 2 for 2, now 0 for their last 2. Dinkins will try a contested triple off the heel. And how about Jackson skying for the board? Then he gets wrestled down to the floor. That's going to be a foul on Eli Wilborn.
That's why this team is so good. They have really good athletes. They're not afraid to put their head in there. And look at Zeb Jackson. He would normally take that shot. He knows Shulga, who did not make a 3 the last game, needed to get himself going. Easy one, had his feet set. Shulga, a guy who I believe will be player of the year in this league, has had an outstanding season.
Shulga began his collegiate career at Utah State with Ryan Odom, came over to VCU when Odom got the job, and has really just transformed himself into such a capable all-around scorer, shooting nearly 43% from three on the season. And a big reason why VCU is having the success they're having this year. Bambasil,
look at the defense.
Gets it back from Bamboye. Bambasil in the paint. High arcing shot, no good. Rebound to Wronski.
Yeah, they'll let him take that all day long over Dixon. That's a mismatch that favors Duquesne.
Netchis tries to get the three to fall, and a foul on the floor. That's going to be number 2 against Bamboye.
And this kid right here, I mean, he's just been absolutely fantastic for Ryan Odom. And I mean, I just love his poise, his disposition. You can never rattle this young man. Him coming back this year, put his name in the portal for a second, but him coming back has been all the difference in this season.
One of those times where just retention is more important than grabbing anybody new, pull him onto your roster. It's the second foul on Bamboye. He'll head to the bench. Duquesne still without a 3 after hitting 15 in the win against George Mason. Excellent pass, Netchis from beyond the arc. Good look, can't get it to fall.
Yeah, they would love for him to start making a bit struggling from 3.
Down low, it's Christian Furman. His shot is short. Duquesne now 0 for 5 since that 2 for 2 start. Dinkins blocked from behind by Shulga. And then ripped away, Netchis taking candy. And it's oh so sweet as Duquesne ties it up at 6 apiece.
Well, don't sleep on this Duquesne team, I'm telling you.
Clark lets it fly, trying to get the bounce, popcorns out, and that's going to be VCU ball on the baseline as we get set for our first stoppage of play. Wow. Duquesne makes it to the NCAA tournament, and oh, they don't just show up to the dance, they win a game against BYU. Now, where are they now? Keith Dambrot, he's retired. Day Grant playing in Spain, and Jimmy Clark III playing professionally in Israel. So a lot of talent and a lot of leadership that left that team, but this is a Duquesne team that at this point last season was also 8-8 in conference play. And we'll show you later, it can be anybody's tournament to win in the Atlantic 10 when you get to that conference tournament. But the foul trouble is the early story for VCU. Bamboye and Russell each with 2 quick fouls apiece in the first 4.5 minutes of this game. Notched up at 6 apiece. 2 threes for VCU. Shulga, pump fake, fundamental down low, gets the 2.
So good, and just to piggyback on what you were saying about the foul trouble, it shows you the depth of this VCU team. They come in with Chris Furman and Zeb Jackson, and they don't miss a beat.
So when you played and coached, when you saw off-ball fouls, you get a backcourt violation whistled against Wronski. When you see 2 off-ball fouls on 2 players called that quickly, what's the adjustment for you early in this game?
You know, it depends on what your mindset is. If it's pressure, you just live with it because you have depth. Or during that timeout, you say, guys, they're calling it tight. We need to adjust to the officiating. But again, when you have depth, you can put those guys back in the game. Not right now, under 10 minutes, and say, guys, got to be careful. Let's not, let's play with pressure, but we're not going to play full court pressure and gamble.
You mentioned the depth as Max Edwards checks in, as well as Kareem Rozier for Duquesne. That was one thing Ryan Odom talked about. One of their strengths is you don't know who they're going to have on the floor. They're so deep as a lineup as Furman, shot clock winding down, goes up with the left, too strong. Rebound ripped down by Jashawn Corbett.
I mean, if that's one of the weaknesses I would say this VCU team has, as most teams in the country, they can't throw it inside. Right? They're a guard-dominated program. Another turnover. This is what they really do well and get out in transition.
Jackson pump fake, dishes it down low, blocked by Dixon. He fortifies the defense for the Dukes. It's Crawford pushing the pace, and then ripped away by Shulga once again. 3-on-2 opportunity. Dish to the corner, cross-court dime. Jackson for 3, no good.
But you can tell, Jordan, it's an emphasis, got a mismatch. He's got to score that. Got the little guy on him.
Furman instead kicks it out, had the mouse in the house. And then Jackson elevates, goes up with the left, it lips out. Furman trying to fight for it. Duquesne will close it up. And now the Dukes just trying to do something positive.
Slow it down a little bit. Again, I know the Rams are missing bunnies, but this is not the team, I think, that you want to go up and down the court with. Law averages will favor them in the end.
3 straight turnovers for the Dukes. The dime, Dixon, shoulder to chest, draws the foul on Furman. and one. David Dixon led to the free throw line here.
You know, they covered that action, the VCU team did, and walkthrough today. Coming off that screen, it was more of a lob action, but again, you get Furman, who has to help, right? You get caught in no man's land, and you get a hard roll to the rim by Dixon, creates an angle to get a foul.
Now, this is one of the areas where the Dukes have struggled this year. They're shooting just 65%. They rank 334th out of 355 teams. You don't have to be a math major to know that is not
Is that bad?
But I like to think glass half full here, Chris Walker.
Wow, that's a big glass.
There's plenty of room for improvement, and that's what you've seen from Duquesne throughout the year, because remember, this is a team that lost their first 6 games of the year. And when you're talking to Drew Joyce, he gave an interesting response as to how things turned around.
And I'll say this for him, he was trying to find himself as a coach. You know, his first opportunity, and if you've never sat in that chair, moving 6 inches over is a huge deal, not just for him, but Jordan, also the way the players responded to him, because he has a new role. So he's got it figured out, and I think he's going to be a fantastic coach in the future.
Dixon hits both free throws that knocks it up at 8 apiece. Here's Jackson, in and out, pitter-patter dribble. He gets fouled while trying to guide his way to the cup. That's going to be the first foul on Kareem Rozier.
Jackson's so elusive once he gets going downhill, gets a shoulder advantage, tilts the floor. They're just missing some bunnies. I'm telling you, I've seen this movie before when these guys start off slow and they can go on a run like crazy.
Chris Walker, the unofficial voice of VCU Rams basketball this season. I think it's their 8th game. Shulga knocking down cones on his way through the lane. And a bucket here for Christian Furman. And an opportunity to tack on one more. They're going to get Eli Wilborn for the foul. That's the second one on Wilborn.
They're going to have to talk about how they're going to guard this ball screen. Eli Wilborn in no man's land. You have to get over and you have to slide your feet, and you have to create some type of impediment to Shulga driving, or it's going to be curtains all night long with that action.
And they corrected the foul because it looked like Wilborn was going straight up in that situation. And so the foul, it won't be the second on Wilborn, which is key because he's had an early bucket for Duquesne. We're going to get that information for you here in just a moment. I know you're hanging by the edge of your seat. Corbett gets ruled for the foul in that situation.
Talented freshman Jennings checking to the game. I think he has a bright future as well for VCU.
Wilborn snatches it out of midair and goes right back up for 2.
A big part of this game is rebounding. You know, sometimes you got to punch the bully. VCU, a great offensive rebounding team, right? You got to go after them as well and get on the offensive glass.
VCU has crushed opponents on the glass over the last 4 games. They've had a couple of games where they've been plus 13 and plus 15 on the boards, but right now Duquesne doing a great job of just keeping pace on the glass with the Rams. Jackson sails the baseline jumper, and the rebound scooped up by Edwards as he trots it down the court.
So important to keep them in front of you if they can't get to the rim.
Edwards, nice find. Wilborn rocks the rim.
Listen, you know what Duquesne is doing right now? They're playing VCU basketball. Getting in the lane, dropping dimes. This is uncharacteristic of VCU right now. Dukes are putting their dukes on him, Jordan.
Brandon Jennings, the spin move, the dish to the corner, no good. Michael Bell can't get it, but it's Furman who gobbles up another offensive rebound. Jennings this time fouled as he goes baseline, and we'll take another stoppage. But Duquesne doing an excellent job holding their own against VCU. What they've been doing, averaging nearly 81 points per game. The margin of victory is what stands out against some solid A-10 opponents, fueled by the three-point shooting for VCU.
They're a fantastic team. I'm telling you right now, you know, as I'm sitting here and gawking over these stats, and I'm like, I'd put these stats next to any team in the country other than Auburn. But I'm just saying these guys are a well-oiled machine. They play together. Ryan Odom has simply done an absolute tremendous job with this group. And VCU, I'm telling you, in my opinion, Jordan, I know we're not talking about this yet, they're absolutely a tournament team. No matter what happens the rest of the year, this team is certainly worthy and can win games in the tournament.
Chris Walker, it's March. We can absolutely talk about it as Shulga misses the 3 from the corner. Another offensive rebound. Jennings gets it, but this time it's Wilborn who has been dominant in the paint to start this game.
Well, since we're going to talk about it, I'll say it again. I'll second that. They're absolutely a team to be reckoned with. But I'll tell you something. When you're talking about the A-10 tournament, 8 different teams have won the A-10 tournament. Duquesne doing that last year, playing right now after beating George Mason, and then ahead right now. Who knows what could happen in this game?
Bamboye, with those 2 fouls, intercepts the lob attempt, and now it's Jackson working the 2-man game. Step back 2-point jumper, in and out. Rebound gobbled up by Corbett.
Yeah, I'd like to see them come back with Phil Russell possibly
down the floor, Edwards. Oh, what an acrobatic move, but a heartbreaker. We were all ready to see that drop. Shulga, hesitation drive, pump fake, back to Bamboye, and he'll give it back to Shulga. Shulga trying to draw the foul, and it's going to be against Corbett.
Corbett can't believe it.
Question is, yep, the officials will give him 3 free throws, so a heads-up play by Max Shulga, and that's going to be the second foul on Corbett.
See, coming off that ball screen again, as I said before, they're going to have to figure out how they're going to guard ball screen. Wilburn staying too far back, allowing Shulga. You're putting too much pressure on a guy guarding the basketball to get over the screen in front of a player like Shulga.
I was just going to ask you, when you see those on-ball screens inside or right at the 3-point arc, you always feel that the big has got to help immediately on that.
Yeah, I honestly believe that. You have to force them, because as I said before, make them make another play, but allow an elite player like Shulga to come off that screen with the Red Sea parting. It's very difficult to guard because he can get to the rim and make plays, create some foul trouble, or kick it to open threes on the perimeter.
And to your point, where he's at, there's just so many options immediately as soon as he has separation. So Shulga hits the first 2 free throws. It's our 4th tie of the game already. A real back-and-forth affair.
One thing about the Rams, you know, they have these spurts, the spurt ability of VCU. Now, again, at home, they're a lot better at it. But during that 8-game win streak, all those games were not at home.
Spurt ability, is that going to be Webster's word of 2025?
I can't take credit. I stole it from the GOAT, Clark Kellogg, the GOAT. I call him the GOAT every time I see him. Most gracious guy in college basketball.
Oh, that just wasn't ready for the orange.
Highlight
Bamasil in transition. 2-handed throwdown. And as you said, it comes in waves. The spurt ability starting here for VCU, and it's the 5th turnover for Duquesne.
They just keep constant pressure, play for a great coach, Hall of Fame coach. That's right, I said Hall of Fame Rolly Massimino. With pressure, steal will come. You don't have to reach. You just create energy and you create action, and they will turn it over themselves.
Dinkins has been very quiet, trying to draw the foul against Shulga, doesn't get the whistle, and Drew Joyce can't believe it. Arms exalted in the air, asking for a foul.
You're gonna tear a hamstring if you don't watch out.
Russell nearly loses the dribble, gets it back to Bamboye. 18 to shoot. Russell and Bamboye with those 2 fouls still on the floor.
Watch this ball screen here, see how they guard it. Good job by Nexus getting over it.
Shulga, step back 3. Oh, playing with his dinner right now.
Come on now.
18 to 12 advantage. Shulga with 11 quick points here in the first half. And a timeout call by Drew Joyce, still stating his case to the officials. Wanted that foul against Dinkins. Instead, it's VCU on an 8-0 run. 18-12 VCU lead, an 8-0 run, and they've gotten a few gimmies right here as Bamasil heads up play.
I told you about the spurt ability. Clark Kellogg, I hope that's not copywritten because I'm using it. They get out in transition. Bamasil with that 40-plus inch vertical. And this young man right here, you have to guard him. So many tricks in the bag, and he can shoot it from anywhere around the court, get to the rim. I love his game, but you know what? They got to be careful, I'm telling you. It comes in waves, and we'll see what Drew Joyce has cooked up here.
Duquesne still without a 3-point field goal, 0 for 4. They hit 15 of them in the victory over George Mason the other day. Edwards contested 2. Oh, he threads it. Heavily defended by Clark.
Yeah, tough shot. An A-10 rookie
Bamasil, offensive foul. And how about Kareem Rozier stepping up and drawing the contact?
Yeah, coming in just like a little tank, just being physical on Bamasil. You know, about this Duquesne team, they beat a tough, and I'll tell you, they beat a tough George Mason team. I have a lot of respect for Tony Skinn and the job he's done. I think he's a coach of the year in the league, and his team is absolutely tough as nails, and they handled them in this building.
Edwards, who's provided some excellent energy off the bench, caught in midair, tough two, he falls, and so does his shot.
GW transfer, he can score them very quickly. Came off the bench, provided an unbelievable punch for him last game.
So Duquesne, after the timeout, halt the 8-0 run. They score 4 in a row. Open floor. It is Edwards guying through the air. The lay-in drops. It's a 6-0 Max Edwards run.
Giving all the credit to Duquesne here to the Rams, and Duquesne showing some spurt ability of their own, getting this crowd into the game.
UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse recently went under a renovation a few years ago as Shulga continues to renovate the Duquesne defense and gets the foul.
Yeah, he's so tough getting into the lane, and Duquesne just getting active hands. And you see Edwards, I'm a rookie of the year from George Mason in the A-10, transferred over to Duquesne, getting to the rim with an easy deuce. But again, that's what it takes to win against the Rams. I'll say it again, you got to punch the bully sometimes. The way they play, you can't be on your heels against this team. Now, you don't have to play the same style that they play, but you certainly have to match their aggressiveness and their enthusiasm and their attention to detail on defense.
Shulga already with 13 points. And what makes the Rams so difficult to play against is this offense that they've had where they're leading the conference and made threes per game. But they are top 10 in the nation in effective field goal percentage defense and 2-point field goal percentage defense. So they are stifling on defense with that full court pressure throughout the majority of the game. It's Edwards now that's got the last 6 points for Duquesne. Feeling it as he curls. That's short. Bounces off the dome of Clark. And it's Rozier that gets the loose ball. Edwards knifing his way to the cup. Gets his own miss. Stripped. Balls on the floor. And it's finally Clark that scoops it up.
That's just a scrappy game right now. What a
Shulga,
pass.
no-look dime. Furman couldn't quite handle it as it gets knocked out of his hands. And so things are getting tight here in Pittsburgh. VCU clinging to a 2-point
They are
lead.
fantastic, and they have a chance, I believe, to cut down the nets in San Antonio.
Had a chance to call their game at UCF, which came down to the final possession. And that defense, you have to see it in person. The physicality, the speed, the intensity. And if you pair that with the 3-point shooting that Houston has flexed, they're going to be tough to beat as we have a turnover by VCU. Russell off his own foot. It's the 5th one of the night for the Rams.
Yeah, you know, he's had those 2 fouls. It's probably in his head a little bit, Jordan. Just got to get some rhythm. I'm sure Coach Odom said, hey, just got to stay with it, stay with it. You don't want to keep him out too long. But Kid Jennings, I think, has a, you know where he went to high school? St. Christopher's.
St. Christopher's.
Yeah.
And his coach went to St. Vincent St. Mary's, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Christopher. I would call you St. Christopher with the way that you've been covering these games all season long, as we see Dixon this time loses it out of bounds. It'll be VCU ball. One thing to keep in mind with VCU here, Chris, they're 24-5 on the season. All 5 of their losses have come on the road, and they are giving up 12 more points per game on the road than they do at home. They're one of just 6 teams to be undefeated at home this season.
Again, if you've never been to the Siegel Center, and I'm telling you right now with scheduling, it makes it very difficult for teams like VCU to get home games, and you see why. Because it is virtually impossible. One of the best home courts in the country. Why this team is so good. And again, they get really good players to go there, and they got great history.
Russell, corner 3, no good. The Rams not been able to find their outside stroke here in the latter part of the first half. Rozier for 3. Duquesne still without their first triple of the night. They are now 0 for 6 from beyond the arc.
That's what happens when you make 15 threes a game before, Jordan.
Jackson, oh, how
So
about
good.
the wiggle and the finish? How do you stop that?
You can't. You got a mismatch. I mean, someone has to be in the help or in the hole where the arc is to help him in that mismatch situation, because he is so good at bobbing and weaving and finishing with his athleticism.
Rozier left all alone, and it's a practice shot for him from the wing. Down the floor, Furman running away, and is Dixon coming from behind to erase it.
Yeah, just good job recovering. You see Furman rim running straight to the rim, and Russell had the presence of mind and advanced the basketball. But again, that defense swatting it from behind. No foul. Good job sprinting back.
David Dixon joined the exclusive 100 dunk, 100 block club. for Duquesne last game against George Mason, and has been terrific defensively for the Dukes. Just under 6 minutes left here in the first half. VCU can clinch a share of the A-10 regular season title with a win tonight. Duquesne trying to make it 4 wins in a row over VCU, and Russell another self-induced turnover. He'll step out of the game, didn't even hesitate, just trotted right to his seat.
You see Coach Odom going over and talking to him. He subbed him in and subbed him out, and then he, just another turnover. I'm telling you, those 2 fouls got into his head. He's got to calm himself down. Maybe after halftime he'll get there, but just pushing himself a little bit too much.
And Russell, we've all been there before, by the way. We have all been there before. So a lot of basketball left in this game. It was the 6th turnover of the night for VCU.
Just tough. You got to calm yourself down. That's why it's so hard to play on the road.
Wronski knocked off target, but they're going to whistle him for the travel. And Drew Joyce felt he got hit. And we saw a lot of contact as he was driving through the lane, but we have seen the officials start to let some stuff play in the paint. They've been consistent with it.
Yeah, they certainly have. And see, getting to the rim, you see Bamasil, allow him to get past him, and Furman's the one that put the body on him. That's a big body. You run into that brick wall, but no call. Got to play through the physicality. If I am Duquesne, this is exactly, that's why it was a key, tempo, and where I want the game. This kid here, man, come on.
Shulga,
I couldn't get my point out.
of VCU's 24 points.
He is so good at playing on balance on 2 feet and taking his time. Wow.
Corbin, aggressive take, skies over the defense with the left-hand shot put.
Points in the paint is very important. You see Shulga and the rest of the team, he's carrying the load, but points in the paint by Duquesne, they're doing what I think they need to do to be in this game.
Bamasil to the cup. Dixon got a hand on it. They're going to rule this a goaltend. Dixon most likely didn't get there in time, but you just see his instincts and how quickly he can get up to try and get that basketball.
And you see what VCU is doing. They're taking advantage of Wronski and Netjes, those guys, when they're guarding the quicker guards, and it's an ISO situation. The Duke's going to have to provide some help. Going to have to come over and be a little bit more vertical to stop them from getting to the rim, because they're going to drive that basketball all game if they continue to recognize those mismatches.
Duquesne is 10 of 17 on 2s, 0 for 6 from 3. Crawford, the fake. Crawford quickly to the cup. Fouled as he was dashing towards the goal, and free throws coming for him. And how about the Dukes getting set to step forward and shoot free throws 3 and 4 of the game?
You see right there, faking, they call that rejecting the screen, not using the ball screen, going the other way, no help in the gaps. And they talked about that in the shoot-around, about being in the gaps. And I've never seen, I'm going to be honest with you, a team attack them in the interior the way this Duke team is doing right now.
Cam Crawford has spent some time at Indiana State and at Marshall as he rolls in the first free throw, shooting 44% from 3. And Drew Joyce said he has saved our season when he got inserted into the starting lineup, because you had a couple of injuries that Duquesne was dealing with early in the season. Exactly. Jake DeMichael and a lot of wing depth got eroded about 10 games into the season, and that was part of the challenge for Drew Joyce, was settling in on that rotation, right? That's so important for a coach to find the right time and the right lineups to put on the floor at any given moment.
It's hard because, again, you go through the season, you think that things are going to be a certain way, and then an injury kind of gets things. Yeah, no disrespect to Mike, he's a really good player, but an injury, how about that?
What a find to Bell! Ding, ding, ding as he throws it down.
Jackson with the yo-yo action. I'm telling you right now, they're going to have to figure that out, because if he can control this game, if he's allowed to have that type of space to yo-yo with his quickness and elusiveness. Good switch there.
You've seen VCU attack Netjes on the perimeter a few times. Netjes just a beat too slow to try and keep up with some of the faster guards. Oh, a turnover. Corbett couldn't handle it. Up ahead, Clark doesn't need a dribble as he skies to the cup.
Jordan, it happens quickly. I'm telling you. This team, again, turnovers on 21% of teams' possessions. They create turnovers on the top 25 in the nation. They just do a fantastic job and get their hands on another ball.
Netjes just a beat too late on that pass to the rolling Wilborn. It's 5 for their last 5 for the Rams in that game. But how about this for Shulga? Has struggled on the road with his efficiency. Was shooting just 39% in 9 road games tonight, 67% from the field. How you like that quick math?
He knew that because you were going to put that stat out there. That's what you get for that.
You see Wilborn on the other end, 3 of 4, and really his physicality. And I think what stands out about Duquesne so far, even though they trail by 6, they have had the athleticism to beat the ball pressure that VCU is applying, and they're getting into the paint. Now they've got to just try to cash in on some threes. 0 for 6 after hitting 15 against George Mason in that victory. It's worth noting. Wilborn inside, a scowl on his face, but he loses the ball. Here is Shulga in transition once again, trying to pick him apart. A pump fake gets 3 defenders to bite. Stolen in the open floor. And the lay-in is good as Dinkins able to get his first points of the game.
Yeah, good pick-six turnover. Bell should have squeezed that one and just waited. Take your time. Trying to throw it cross-court. Good presence of mind and intercept that by Dinkins. He needed that too.
Bamasil sneaks it in. And Dinkins took a shot to the mouth as he is just a little dazed, and a little collision underneath as Bell also.
As much as we're talking about the Dukes attacking the paint, VCU, they're doing the exact same thing. They're just getting to the rim as much as they want. You see Corbett not able to stay in front of Joe Bamasil, who's an attack dog when it comes to getting to the paint and creating plays with his athleticism.
What's been interesting for VCU is they average 15 assists per game. They're sitting at 5 assists on 12 made baskets, so a little bit more one-on-one.
And again, that's because of the way the Duquesne Dukes are playing. They're not allowed in the driving kick, so they have to do it that way currently.
Rozier had to get it up. Netches trying to fight his way. It's a scuffle for the ball underneath. It's Clark that scoops up the leather. Up ahead, Bamasil lets the flyby go by as he gets the lay-in.
You have to sprint back in transition. I realize they want to go to the glass, but you got to have, as they say, some get-back guys, because this team is fast and they're furious.
It's a 10-2 run for VCU. It's their second run of the night of 8 or more points. Last time, Duquesne was able to answer with 6 consecutive points. Rozier coming off the screen, the Rams switch, and then we have a foul off the ball. Well, coming up on AT&T at the half, how about this all-star group? Brent Stover, Ice Young, Roy Hibbert, and Gary Parrish are in our New York studio with all the highlights and analysis on a busy Tuesday. That's all coming up on AT&T at the half.
They're waiting on me to say something. That's certainly an all-star cast. There's 4 things. Ice, ice bait, ice sheets, fantastic. Roy, you know what happens at 8 o'clock tonight? The Hoyers are going to play the catch. You already know that. My little homie from Memphis, GP, I'm still waiting to get on that podcast. He hadn't called me yet. And Brent Stover, are you wearing purple? It is K-State playing tonight.
We know Brent Stover, former cross-country athlete at Kansas State, got his miles in today. Ice Young, sensational, called some WNBA games with her.
That guy, he runs more than water, I'm just telling you.
I'll tell you what, if you ever need a barbecue recommendation, Gary Parrish is your man. We were at your old stomping grounds, Texas Tech, and he found us a spot that was just unbelievable. And Roy Hibbert,
One
beat
thing
the
about
brakes
GP,
off of us
he's
in
a
college.
resourceful dude. One thing about GP, he's like 29 podcasts. GP figures it out.
He works, as they like to say.
Man,
so a scuffle on the sideline, and now the officials will sort things out. It'll be Duquesne ball with 1:31 left here in the first half. One more look, because we saw this loose rock.
Oh, wow.
Tumbling towards the sideline, and last off a VCU player.
A good call by the officials. Bell.
Rozier trying to turn the corner. Terrific help defense, yeah.
Look at that defense by Bell, that length and athleticism.
Rozier can't shake him. Couple of pump fakes. Edwards has to fire, no good, and VCU showing you why they're one of the top defenses. And flying over the scorer's table was Rozier. He went head first and took a big collision up against the bar right there, and he is in pain. So they're going to send the medical staff immediately over to Rozier. We'll give you an update on his status as they take a closer look at him. But the biggest concern at this moment is the health right now of Kareem Rozier. You saw him instantly chase down that loose ball. Everybody surrounding him immediately called for help, and now they're going to try and clear the area and get him some help as we take a stoppage in play. We love the heart and you love the hustle of Rozier. Always a scary moment here, Chris, when you've got any player that's leaping out of bounds trying to save a play, and there's not a lot of space between the front rail of the stands here and the sideline as Rozier was diving over. Here's one more look here, Chris.
Yeah, that was a real tough one. Great hustle by both guys. It was just caught right at the end. See the VCU radio host tried to catch him. Randy, thank God for Randy holding on to him. See Drew Joyce there looking to help him, just make sure he's okay. That's the most important thing right now. Playing his heart out.
Kareem Rozier, a junior from Detroit, from Orchard Lake St. Mary's, leads the team in steals per game at 1.2, so you understand why you're going after any potential loose ball. But the good news, he is on his feet and making his way back onto the floor.
That's the kind of passion you want to see young men play with, because every possession matters, and thank goodness he's okay, and hopefully he can return back to the game. Detroit tough, that's for sure. Flying over the scoreboard, I mean, that's just, wow, that's some heart there. Tough young man.
So we'll give you an update on Rozier's status, but Seawalk, you've been in situations like this before where if you're Duquesne, you're trailing by 7. This is the largest lead that VCU has had of the night. Sometimes plays like this, though, to galvanize and refocus you as a team, you just need a little bit of a pick-me-up to try and get back on rhythm.
They do. I mean, obviously that's a heart-gripping moment to see that happen to your brother. But they got to defend. I'm telling you right now, this VCU team, you want to make sure you really do a great job of guarding. You don't want them to get 3. You don't want them to get any more momentum going into halftime.
You didn't seem to see Rozier favoring any particular body part as he was getting up. But as we said, we'll keep you up to date on his status. But right now, under a minute left, Shulga with 15 points to the corner. Clark, he can be a flamethrower from outside. And he splashes one from the corner.
I mean, that is his shot. He has made so many shots, made 4 threes the last game, but it starts with Shulga coming off that ball screen once again, getting to the middle of the lane, driving and kicking.
Clark is now 21 for his last 33 from 3, and then another pass breakup by the Rams, and about a 5-second differential between shot and game clock. Ryan Odom wants his team to spread the floor right now.
And run that same action, get Shulga off a ball screen, see how they're going to guard it. Also, you got ISO with Zeb Jackson with his ability to bob and weave and snake and get to the rim and create disruption.
Jackson waiting for his time to strike. 5 to shoot. Jackson draws 2. Clark curling, rhythm dribble, lets it fly, misses everything. So 6.1 seconds left, and Ryan Odom, there was a missed assignment by VCU on that last play as he was pointing to somebody that they didn't rotate out of the way.
Yeah, not the worst thing. You don't turn it over. They don't get a touchdown turnover into the shot clock. If you would have missed, they would have gotten the ball anyway.
3 seconds left. Duquesne coming down the floor, and a foul with 1.7 seconds left. Dinkins is going to head to the free throw line to try and cut the lead into single digits.
See, I mean, again, Ryan Oldham's a very smart coach, and they just keep the pressure on. But when you extend the court, guys don't want to foul. And Trey Dinkins, who's been struggling thus far, sees an opportunity to get to the rim. Something may get him going, because he hasn't been able to do what he did the last game against George Mason.
Well, Dinkins, who's averaging 13 points a game, is the only player that averages double figures for Duquesne. Had 20 in the victory over George Mason. It's been a slower evening for him so far. Just 3 points in the first half.
There's that length and the pressure of VCU. 1 second on the clock. Don't want to give these guys an opportunity to score. You can catch, dribble, and Ryan Odom calls it use it or lose it.
Ryan Odom calls timeout. A chance for one last Hail Mary. We'll step aside for 30. 1.7 seconds remaining in the first half. VCU ball. Here's a chance to practice all of those full court plays and to put it into actual practice here on the floor. And both teams in the bonus, so if you are Duquesne, you've got to be very careful of not fouling in the situation.
And it's tough in these situations, but this is stuff you got to work on, because you never know when you're going to need it. Got to get it in bounds, though.
Clark dancing on the sideline. Whips a pass. Shulga will have a chance. One last heave. It'll be short. But Shulga certainly did his damage in the first half with 15 points. VCU, they've won 8 straight, trying to make it 9 in a row, and a win tonight would clinch at least a share of the A10 regular season title. Duquesne trailing at the moment, and that's the end of the first half.
Make some three-point shots. They made 15 the last game. Maybe they extinguished them all in that game, but in order for them to pull off this upset, they're going to have to make a couple, and they're going to have to get Dinkins in this game, and I'm sure that's what Drew Joyce talked about at halftime.
And that is one of the silver linings to this first half for Duquesne, is that your stars didn't necessarily shine, and one thing you want to see differently from them on offense is they've done a really nice job of getting into the paint with the dribble penetration, but they just have 3 assists to show for it.
Again, getting in there and creating some havoc. I'll give them that. You know, they've made some shots, but sometimes it's fool's gold. You have guys on the perimeter that can make those step-in jump shots. Dinkins one of those guys who can make shots on people, but the length is so tough to make it right now over VCU.
A look at Kareem Rozier, who took a scary spill into the scorer's table in the first half. Right now, they're applying what appears to potentially be some kinesio tape to the shoulder. Also had a little bit of a gash on his right arm. He will give it a go. They ruled that it was his right shoulder that they're taking a look at. So VCU will get the first possession of the second half. Keep in mind, the Rams, with a win tonight, would claim a share of the A10 regular season title. Russell back out to Shulga. Shulga, oh, he is still warm for the first half. 18 points on the night.
That's why I told you about quoting those stats. He heard you talking about his stats on the road, and look what happened. He's showing you up right now. That's what he's doing.
You were trying to put me on blast when I was simply stating the facts. That's my job. I am unbiased. I just want to see great basketball. I'm enjoying what Max Shulga is showing us on the offensive end. Now can the Dukes respond is the question, yeah.
See how they're ISO and they're not allowing shooters to get open. They're playing them one-on-one when they drive to the rim.
The A10 standings, VCU a game ahead of George Mason. This is why tonight's game is so critical. Duquesne sitting at 8-8. Keep in mind, Duquesne has just had 9 winning seasons in conference play since they've been in the A10. And then we have a foul. That's number 3 against Russell, who's been picking up fouls at a quicker pace than points, unfortunately, tonight.
It just has not been his game thus far. Plenty of game to get himself into it, and that's what it's going to take. Think about it. You're going to get ready to go play in the A10 tournament. I don't believe the Rams have to win it to be in the NCAA tournament. I think they'll be fine. But again, you're going to have to play with these situations with foul trouble. This is good for Russell. He has to play through it. Team is still winning.
Wilborn hits the free throw. So Wilborn has been one of the bright spots offensively for Duquesne. He's got 8 points, 3 of 4 from the field. Shulga throws it down the floor, back out to Bamasil. Bamasil had 8 points in the first half. Russell, many people thought he traveled, gets away with one.
Got a mismatch.
The switch, yep. Russell, the 3, way too long, but an offensive rebound and then a foul as Bamboye gets clobbered. So VCU, one of the more intriguing resumes of teams trying to get to the NCAA tournament. A net ranking of 29, Chris. They're 25th in the coaches poll. Your key wins, Colorado State and George Mason. The key losses, you want to explain a little bit more about those?
Listen, starting from the bottom at New Mexico, probably 99% of the teams in the country would lose that game. I worked at New Mexico, a mile high and louder than hell. Like, you're not winning there, but your team is going to be in the NCAA tournament. At Seton Hall has struggled this year, but no one knew at the beginning of the year that Seton Hall would be that team. And plus, it was on the road. And at St. Louis, Josh Schertz, are you kidding me? Next to Tony Skinn have done a tremendous job. Those 3 losses are just tough losses, but forget about the losses. This team is playing great. You get me started right now on my diatribe.
I'm going to get you started. Let's get you started, Chris Walker.
And I know, everyone's listening, all the prognosticators, and saying that, it doesn't matter. This is a multi-bid league no matter what happens. I think this team has done a tremendous job. And I'm telling you right now, it's a team, much like St. Mary's, that you do not want to see in the NCAA tournament.
I go back to some of the metrics with them. Top 10 in the nation in effective field goal percentage defense and 2-point field goal percentage defense. Those are critical factors if you're going to play in the tournament. And we know how well the defense carries over to the NCAA tournament. And for VCU, they also feel, listen, we're good enough as it is to get an at-large bid. We don't have to be an automatic qualifier. And If you look at the chaos that has happened with champions in the A-10 tournament over the last 8 years, A-10 still very much alive to be a two-bid conference.
Yeah, certainly are. The defense, they're just really scrapping again. Look at that rotation.
Whip it around, Duquesne. They still can't capitalize on a three-point shot. Loose ball scooped up by Ronsky.
Got to grab loose balls. You can't dribble them. There by Shulga. And just getting back to those metrics. In every metric, they're one of the top teams in the country. Foul there. Good job by Phil Russell.
Foul against Netchus. But here are the last 8 champions in the Atlantic 10 conference tournament. This is bonkers. Now keep in mind, one team you don't see is Dayton, who very much would have won it in 2020 when they were the #2 team in the nation. And all the conference tournaments, Obi Toppin, all those tournaments got canceled. So you could legitimately say you've had 9 different champions in the last 9 years. That's why whenever they tip it off, it's going to be very intriguing this year.
That's what's so special about that tournament. I'm privileged to be calling the semifinals, and I'm telling you right now, it's going to be electric in Washington, D.C. But all eyes, and unfortunately, this is what happens during this time of year. I've been on both sides of the ledger here. There are teams right now that are on the bubble that are rooting against VCU. That's what's had our teams you're rooting for. There are teams that you are rooting against, and there are people right now. Duquesne has a bunch of fans that are not in this building right now in the country, trust me.
Wilborn rips down another board, and that's going to be a foul on Shulga. And that'll be his first foul of the game. During the month of March, CBS Sports celebrates Women's History, honoring the role of women inspiring generations to move forward together. And listen, we talk about watching great basketball, C-Walk. I had a chance to call the UConn women, Paige Becker, Sarah Strong, Gina Oriema. That is a machine, and watching them just dissect any defense.
Do they ever lose in the Big East?
Thing. Here's this stat. Here's the crazy stat with them. They're on the verge of their 19th undefeated Big East season underneath Gino Oriema.
That is amazing.
Wild.
I mean, the job that he has done.
Shulga misses it. Man, boy, the offensive rebound putback, and VCU starting to create a little bit of distance between themselves and Duquesne.
They just wear you down. They have so many ways they can score, so many weapons. And you see Drew Joyce says that we got to sit here and talk about it before this gets out of hand.
Largest lead of the game for the Rams. Up
and why I'm glazing. That's a new word. I'm going to say I'm glazing over VCU.
Spurtability, glazing.
And glazing, yeah.
Now all I can think about are donuts. That's all I can think about.
Well, you didn't throw your donuts like you normally do. You're cheating.
Listen. How
dare
you?
How dare you? Pavilion because you didn't bring the Krispy Kreme.
I walked.
We're not getting paid by Krispy Kreme.
No,
we're not going to use them.
I walked blocks and blocks looking for a donut shop and had no luck. And you would think with the calories that I burned off, I would have been rewarded with a donut after walking all those blocks. But either way, we've seen VCU quickly turn the faucet on. It's an 8-2 run to start the second half. And they have 7 steals and have forced 11 turnovers for Duquesne.
Look at that defense. I mean, they're just everywhere. Hands. Only got wide open there.
Edwards, a chance for 3, and it's the first triple of the night for the Dukes.
Yeah, Edwards has had a very good game. He's been very efficient off the bench. They needed that for sure. See if they can get a great defensive possession here.
Bamazil loses the rock, slowly gets up to his feet. Brief numbers for Duquesne. Dinkins maintains the dribble.
And Dinkins, they have to get him going. Only 5 points. They're doing a really good job of staying in his shirt and not allowing him to see any daylight.
Edwards, tough shot, somehow sneaks it through 2 defenders.
He is really, really talented. Just has a knack for scoring, has some bounce and athleticism. Really good with angles.
Edwards with 11 points, the first Duke in double figures. It's been a 5-0 run for him. They try to go up top, and that lob hits the rim. And now a chance for Duquesne to continue this run. Dinkins looking for Dixon, had him for a moment. Edwards for 3, falls to the floor, and a little string music from outside. It's an 8-0 Edwards avalanche, and he has cut the lead to 6. VCU needs a timeout. Oh, you can't dodge the Dukes. They are feeling it at home, trying to get back into this game. Like they did last time, would have to go 4 games in 4 days in the conference tournament. But Edwards and this bench, it's deceptive. You don't know who is going to step onto the floor and play consistent minutes on a given night. Has been a true spark plug for the Dukes.
As you said, Jordan, this is March. Anything is possible. And I mentioned this at halftime. I said, VCU is ahead, but they're not playing great. You know, it's just not their normal selves. You know, again, trapping, good job trapping on the ball screen. Oh, wow. Edwards missed that steal. But I love the adjustment by Drew Joyce, this kid here.
Shulga tucking it like a running back. Like many people in Pittsburgh are used to seeing, by the way.
They don't pass here, you know that. Now again, Shulga they call that the hostage. I don't like to use the word hostage, but you're keeping him on your back. All right, you're keeping him on your back. You make that.
I like to say he just keeps him in timeout.
Right? Keeps him in timeout. Okay, we'll put him in timeout.
I got four young boys.
With the hat on him, or a little, you know,
the dunce cap.
There you go. But getting to the rim and creating an advantage, but missing the first free throw. And getting this crowd into this game, because it's been dismal here until this team started to make a run.
So that ends the 8-0 Max Edwards run. It's now a 7-point lead for VCU, and their largest lead was 14, but Duquesne still showing a lot of fight. Finally starting to hit a couple of threes. They were 0 from beyond the arc in the first half. Edwards has it stripped away. And VCU thought that was off his thigh, but it'll remain Duquesne ball with 13 seconds. One more look here.
Yeah, it was just on the attack, getting off that screen, getting downhill. That was off his leg.
And that split, it was a little bit of a nutmeg on Bamasil right here.
Maybe a touch Bamasil.
Edwards, another three. Oh, get out of here! Are you kidding me? Max Edwards has entered the chat.
Yes, he has. I'm talking about this young man, and that was a design play. Give Drew Joyce credit. A back screen coming from behind the defense. Zeb Jackson's right there on the shot, says he didn't foul him, but refs differ on that opinion, and we got a game here.
Misses this chance at a 4-point play, but he has scored the last 11 points for Duquesne. He's hit all 3 of their threes. And it's now a 4-point game. Shulga trying to shake Netchus and picks up the foul. That's a tough one-on-one assignment right there, Chris Walker.
Yeah, they're trying to go at him. You know, but I think right now, we're talking about what's one of the keys for VCU, that was sharing the basketball. That hasn't happened this half. A lot of one-on-one. They need to get back to moving the basketball from one side of the floor to the other, forcing the Dukes to close out and get out of position so they can get some drives.
Clark, catch and shoot, corner 3. Ooh, Duquesne dodged one there, but grabbing the rebound down low. Furman, oh, he's blocked as he goes up, and Duquesne holds strong.
Furman thought he got fouled. Anytime you're screaming for fouls, they're being aggressive.
Dinkins for 3, no good, but that's going to be a foul on VCU on the floor. Furman can't believe it. We'll get ready for another epic round of UEFA Champions League. The knockout phase has officially begun as the first leg of the round of 16 continues with Feyenoord taking on Inter tomorrow. Coverage of European football's most coveted competition begins at noon Eastern right here on CBS Sports Network, and stream every match live on Paramount+. They even go crazy about March across the pond.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And see Brian Odom giving Chris Furman some instruction here, and I like the energy that the Dukes are playing with right now. They certainly have the momentum on their side.
Edwards, he's going to let another one go, can't hit it, and this time it's out of bounds as Clark couldn't squeeze the orange, and now Duquesne will get another chance.
I just said the momentum's on their side. You know, the Rams have to find a way to muster up on the road, right, against this pro Duquesne crowd who is now into this game. They got to figure out some energy here and match what has happened in the second half, because the second half has been all the Dukes.
How about Crawford and Dinkins with just 6 combined points as Dinkins fading away. It's short. Those two, at 36 between the two of them against George Mason in their last game.
It's just a good sign that those two guys have not gotten going.
What a pass from Clark. Bamasil the 3, too strong. Offensive rebound scooped up by Jackson.
Yeah, long threes are great opportunities to get run out defensively, but also offensive rebounding for the other team.
Bamasil up and under, no good. Rebound, Jackson rips it away. He's going to be called for a foul. Now the foul starting to stack for both these teams. 15th foul against VCU. Jackson, his second personal.
See right here, a tough drop. Good job by Netches, not fouling, just being vertical. And then Jackson coming in, trying to get the interception. Can't rip it away. Too much body. And call a foul.
So much of the offense has been Max Edwards over the last 2.5 minutes for Duquesne. Where's the changeup come from offensively? Because you know Edwards might not be able to keep this pace for the entirety of the game.
It's certainly not. They'll take him out at some point.
And another foul. So Jackson back-to-back fouls. He now has 3. And with 13:22 left, the next one will put Duquesne in the bonus.
You see Coach Ryan Odom said it. Jordan, you know, the Rams, and we talked to Coach Odom about this earlier, they're not playing with pressure. You know, this is just the next game on the schedule. But do you feel like some tense, like they're not playing like themselves? I'll give Duquesne some credit and the way they played, but we've seen the Rams play much better basketball. I think it's starting on the defensive end.
Shot clock winding down. Crawford bothered. Great defense on the perimeter. VCU pushes it down the floor. Jackson, pump fake. Clark, he'll try the triple. No good. Shulga tries to chase down the offensive rebound. Wanted to call timeout. Couldn't get it in time, so he falls out of bounds. It'll be Duquesne ball.
Got to give Duquesne credit. They're taking their best punch. They were down 14. Then all of a sudden it turned into the Maximus Edwards show. You see Shulga try to call timeout.
And this is great to see Kareem Rozier back in the game. You see the right shoulder heavily wrapped. He was 1 for 3, but he is important because defensively leads this team in steals per game and is also top 15 in the country in assisted turnover ratio. So this is a game in which Duquesne has struggled holding onto the ball, 11 turnovers, and now they put the rock in his sure hands.
The pass, you see that from that shoulder. But again, just what offensively is Drew Joyce going to run here? As you mentioned, Edwards can't be the guy that scores for your primary scorer.
Edwards, shot clock winding down. He'll retreat the dribble. Wants to go one-on-one, working against Jackson, trying to muscle his way. He falls, no whistle. Great stop. Clark the other way. Clark loses the handle. Tap free, and then this time it's going to dribble out of bounds. And Duquesne, a quick recovery. Clark just moving a little too quick there on that fast break.
Yeah, just moving a little too quick. And, you know, the VCU bench thinks it's their basketball. You see Ryan Odom staring.
And Rozier was very confident that that was going to be Duquesne ball. He didn't try to chase after it. That was the same spot where he spilled out of bounds earlier in the game. Just
uncharacteristic, as I said. That's a nice little blitz there, double teaming Colbert and not allowing him to get open. But look at this, they're just playing bully ball.
Wilborn trying to go horns to horns with the Rams. And it's VCU that forces the turnover. Jackson, no hesitation, a confident jumper and a mugshot in the face of Edwards.
So there's so many opportunities. When you have this Rams team down, you have to make sure that you continue to keep that momentum in your favor.
What a screen by Wilborn.
Because if you don't, Jordan, this is what they'll do. They'll come back and they'll start scoring.
Wilborn trying to muscle his way to the cup again. Yes! Picks up the foul. He'll head to the line.
The Duke's duking it out. Not going away for sure.
He's one of those players you do not want to see get hot in a tournament game when you've only got 2 days to prepare for him. So, a chance for a three-point play. Wilborn misses the free throw. But how about this? That was the first non-Edwards field goal by Duquesne since 2:58 in the first half. And for VCU, Bamboye with 4 fouls in the game right now. Russell with 3 and Jackson with 3. As Jackson comes around, curling, catching, casting, and he is fouled. And that's a big one against Max Edwards because now Zeb Jackson, who is an 89% free throw shooter, will head to the line for not 1, not 2, but 3 free throws.
Give Ryan Odom credit. A draw up out of timeout, getting him sprinting, getting Edwards chasing him. They call that chasing on the numbers. Getting there a little bit too late on Zeb Jackson. It's a credit to Zeb Jackson, how he worked on his game. Really not thought of as a three-point shooter in his career, has really worked on it. For them to chase him and foul him. Probably don't want to do that because he's more dangerous penetrating your basketball.
And listen, you and I, we have fouled our fair share of three-point shooters when we play. But it's interesting when you look at close games, so many people have a magnifying lens. I mean, the last possession of the game. But that right there, 11:02, is a huge play, which a missed three might potentially turn into 3 points for VCU.
And here's the thing about VCU. You got to get ahead of them. It's not enough to get close. They have too many weapons. They'll figure it out. You got to get ahead of them and get them on their heels if you want to beat this team. You got to knock the champ out.
So Jackson hits all 3 free throws, and what was a 5-point game is now an 8-point lead for VCU. Rozier gets switched upon with Clark defending.
Good
Wilborn down low. This time he is wrapped up on the floor. You see this is against Jennings. It is.
And you mentioned, I was going to say, you mentioned the switch.
Yep.
And then what happens, Wilborn dives to the rim with Jennings on him. Edwards recognized the mismatch and threw the lob and created the foul. That's just great offense and great recognition. Smart basketball.
Wilborn is a 50% free throw shooter. We mentioned in the first half for Duquesne, they struggle at the free throw line. They are one of the bottom 12 teams in the nation, shooting just 65% from the line. And in a close game, right now the Dukes with less than change in the couch.
Yeah, you know, those shots are like turnovers. That's when I was coaching. When you foul a guy, right, that goes to the line and is not a really good free throw shooter, it's a turnover for them. You know, and sometimes, you know, obviously it's a foul for you. The numbers pile up, but if you have something to give, it's a good way, a good weapon, right, that people don't see that's effective for you.
So the Dukes can get another chance when that ball was tapped out of bounds. And a foul on the floor and another trip coming to the free throw line here.
It's a switch again, and there's a reason. It's because of the respects for Trey Dinkins Jr. coming off. They switch and put the bigger player Clark on him, which allows Wilborn to dive to the rim with those smaller players on him. And they're trying to get around him, but he's so active down there, it's very difficult. You see him sprinting down there, and Shulga's just grabbing him. It's an obvious foul.
But now for Wilborn, he's got to try and hit the front end of these one-on-ones, because those are the critical ones here.
As I said before, you know, there's nothing hurting VCU if he doesn't knock him down. It's almost a turnover, as I said.
So Wilborn, 2 of 5 from the free throw line. And essentially a stop for VCU on that end of the floor.
You see VCU going to zone here. Don't want to have to guard them off those screens. VCU worked on this earlier today. Jack Clark going to the corner.
And a turnover right in the hands of Corbett. And that's the 11th turnover of the game for VCU. They average 11 per game, and we still have 10 minutes left to play. Dinkins.
They're just doing a great job of draping him. Exactly. They're draping him, not allowing him to see any air. Another turnover.
And how about Bell diving on the floor? And that's going to be a timeout called for VCU. The possession arrow is pointing to Duquesne. So the Rams force another turnover. 8-point lead for VCU, just under 10 minutes left in this ball game. The Rams 24-5 on the season. A big reason, this defense right here.
It is. I mean, again, as I said before, 21%. They turn teams over, which is top 25 in the nation. This team, 15 turnovers. They created 14 games. Had 15 or more turnovers. I mean, that just shows you right now, stifling. They take it away from you. They create extra possessions. They have so much length. They got 5 guys with 7-foot wingspans. 4 or 5 guys with 40-inch verticals. This is a very athletic team, as well as, George, a very experienced team.
Jackson, another triple attempt, no good. Fighting for the rebound. Clark keeps it alive. Jackson thought about reloading this time. We'll put it on the floor.
Good recovery defense there by the Dukes, not allowing Jackson to penetrate.
Jackson draws 2. Clark
travel
goes up top, and that's going to be a travel and another turnover for VCU.
Ryan Odom does not agree. He said, what did he do? Like there was some shuffling of the feet. A lot of pressure. Ryan Odom, a lot of pressure this game. They got to win every single game.
I've always felt that travel has very rarely given a player an advantage. And I say that because I got whistled for that all the time. It's the catch and then maybe one more step.
And you better stop saying that, because you know your dad's watching this game. I mean, he was a head coach forever, and I know he taught you better than that. Coach Ernie, I feel bad. I can't believe your son's throwing you under the bus like that.
I will say he taught me some pretty good defense. So I'll put it that way. I could lock up some cats back in my day. So here's Dixon up top. The handoff here to Dinkins, who once again, Dinkins and Crawford, just 6 combined points. Dinkins tough too. And the tough night continues, and a collision in midair. And that's going to be VCU ball. Edwards thought he got fouled.
It's been a physical game. I'll say that. You can tell both these teams are playing for something special. Dinkins just continues to struggle to find his shot, and Clark and Edwards going at it. And as I said before, if you really want to ask me the way this game has been played, I believe it's been played at Duquesne's tempo. The problem is you got to score more than VCU, and they only got 44 points. So they got to find a way defensively to turn defense into offense. And it would be nice if Trey Dinkins could make a couple shots.
VCU on an 8-game winning streak. A win tonight would clinch a share of the A-10 regular season title. They've averaged 81 points per game during this 8-game winning streak. Currently sitting at 52. Russell picks up the dribble, back out to Clark, 6 to shoot. Here's Russell, Edwards defending. Russell gets right by Edwards, blocked in midair. Dixon sent it out of orbit.
And everybody on the VCU bench is saying that was a goaltending. A tremendous block.
Dinkins, the dime to Dixon, and Dixon goes up and over the hoop and the arm.
Again, you're watching the VCU bench saying, "Oh, you got to be kidding me," because that was a 4-point swing. Think about it. They don't score on its end. And you see Dixon going up. Wow, that was close. That was close. And Dinkins doing a good job of on defense and dropping a dime, and like you say, the hoop and the harm, but he's got knocked down this basket to really make that an effective play, and it is.
Dixon adds some tip to the bill, and now Duquesne has slashed the lead to 5. And credit the Dukes, even though they weren't scoring in their last couple of possessions, they have held VCU to 1 for their last 8 shooting.
Oh, wow.
And who will they call a foul on? And it's going to be whistled against Duquesne and Dinkins. And now you've got Russell, who's going to be helped up to his feet.
He got lucky because he hooked him. You saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, he really got lucky.
And now you see Russell not able to put much weight at all on that left foot. And you wonder if that's one of those typical rolled ankles that a lot of players get where you just tighten things up. But this is not good right now. One more look at the play here.
Oh, yeah, you see, he twisted it. Wow.
So
yeah, that was
barely
a nasty
able to put
twist.
some weight on that foot, and the thing is, he will be shooting free throws.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to sub somebody in.
So they bring Jackson into the game as Russell is now being helped off the floor, and that is a major potential loss here for VCU because Russell, one of the 4 guards, averaging over 10 points per game, and it is Furman that'll be shooting the free throw.
So they get to pick who comes and shoots the free throw, and obviously Furman.
Hey, Furman said, "Pick me."
Exactly.
Go ahead. Bet.
I'm sub 60, but I'll show you something.
So Furman, the 52% free throw shooter, says, "Put your calculators away."
Exactly. Stats.
Comes
Get out
in
of
and
here.
hits 2 free throws.
Let's see John Ross saying, "Stop looking at the stat sheet."
That was one of those I told y'all. So 2 key free throws from Furman. The lead is now at 7 for VCU with 8 minutes to play.
They just find a way to keep just inching that lead and not leaving it.
Net's just a little too strong off the glass. And look at Jackson with the horsepower down the floor. Nearly lost the dribble.
So fast when he pushes the basketball, puts so much pressure on the defense. Good job slowing it up, not being out of control.
Jackson, a flurry of fakes, dumps it off. Nice find. Furman couldn't handle it. Now it's Edwards back the other way. Hand off to Rozier. Rozier. This time intercepted by Jackson. Heads up play.
I mean, they're just so good at it. They're so good at it. If I'm Ryan Odom, slow the basketball down. The clock is your friend right now. Run your offense. And I'd try to find a way to get Shulga a shot.
13 turnovers each team. Jackson trying to get the angle and a little smooch off the window. Makes it a 9-point lead for VCU.
Let me tell you how smart. That's called a horns action. bigs at the elbow, and they have Shulga in a strong side corner, and Zeb Jackson coming off with his left hand. Can't help, he can finish with anybody if you give him that angle.
Dinkins flips it over to Rozier up top. Rozier trying to keep Shulga on his backside, misses it, and a foul on the floor against Furman as he knocked Dixon off his pedestal. Timeout on the floor. We've got a great one. Just 6 points. They combined for 36 points in that win over George Mason. The two of them average nearly 22 points a game, and that's been the challenge for Duquesne is where does the other scoring come from outside of Edwards? You've got Wilborn with 10 points, and then no other player has more than 2 made field goals on the night, and now it's Dixon at the free throw line as he was fouled on a rebound attempt.
And Jordan, think about it. You talk strategy. Well, how do you stop him from scoring? Now, it may appear that Maximus Edwards, shall I say, is having a great game. And they're saying, you know what? Let Edwards beat us. We're going to take away Crawford, and we're going to take away Dinkins, and they can't beat us.
And VCU has been very tight on their switching. We haven't seen them have too many miscues defensively on a switch, and someone all of a sudden ducks to the cup, and that's made things really difficult, I imagine, on the perimeter for these guards as far as just trying to get into the paint.
That's because they're so big and physical, and they're big and they're long, they're athletic, they're physical. They just haven't played offensively like we're accustomed to seeing them play.
Bamasil sends Edwards flying, flips it over. Shulga catch, fire, 3, too strong. Clark, rebound, Bamasil, pump fake, one more time. That is off target.
Should have shot the first one.
And Dinkins with the rebound.
They should have shot the first one and just held it. There's still plenty of time. There's still 6 and some change, right around 6 minutes. 9-point lead. They have a chance for the 4-minute timeout. They can get it to 4. That would be great. And then they're playing again in winning time. As long as they can make a couple free throws, they got a chance. Oh, that's a foul there.
And how about the illegal screen on Dixon? Jackson takes the shot. And that's going to flip it back to VCU as the 14th turnover for Duquesne. And listen, Duquesne has won their last 3 games against VCU. And
yeah, just put that shoulder out there, a little baby chicken wing. Zeb Jackson sold it, but I'm going to give Duquesne credit. They have really played a physical, they've been attention to detail with their defensive assignments, and they've made it very difficult for the Rams to score, which is a potent offense. 80 points a game in the last 8 games, and they've struggled to score against this team.
8 to shoot. Jackson, a 3. Oh, what a big shot for the Rams as Jackson buries the triple.
When he's doing that, he's one of the best players. I mean, I already believe he's one of the best players in this league. Coming off the bench, he's a 6th starter for them. And he starts knocking down 3s. Forget about it.
13 points for Jackson. 7th made 3 of the evening for VCU. The lead is now to 12.
Found a home here with a transfer from Michigan.
Edwards, double teamed, has to throw it off the body of Furman with 6 to shoot and 4:59 left in this ball game.
As I said before, Zeb Jackson not thought of as a 3-point shooter. He got his feet on him. That was deep too. That's what they need. And that's what I was saying before, like you get it close, inches, and then Zeb Jackson makes a shot like that. Like they have so many guys that can do that. That's what makes them so dangerous and why I believe they'd be a tough team in the NCAA tournament.
Netjes, his bank shot, no good, follows his miss, puts her right back in.
Rather be lucky than good sometimes. You have 3 black shirts there, and none of them pursued the basketball. Netjes got it and got the easy deuce.
Chris, I just go back to Cam Crawford has only put up 2 shots in this game, and he's been such a key piece with this Duquesne offense over the last 6 games where they've won 4 out of the last 6 and has not been able to get it going tonight. Jennings does a good job corralling the pass. Jennings goes up with the left and gets the friendly bounce.
St. Christopher's finest, that's my guy right there. I think he's got a bright future. Long, left-handed, defends. We got another kid, Terrence Hill, a freshman. Doesn't play as much, but he's going to be really good as well from Portland Roosevelt. They're going to have, trust me, forget about, they're going to lose a lot. Right? They brought back 65% of their scoring. They're going to lose a lot, but they got some really good players coming in, and they got some really good players still here.
Dinkins draws 3 this time, draws the foul against Jennings, and so Dinkins will head to the free throw line.
Jr.
Jamal Mashburn Jr. But Donovan Dent has been one of the most explosive point guards in the country, and that's a team that you would love to see in the NCAA tournament, what they could do on a neutral floor.
He's done an absolute great. That's one of the things that I tell coaches, players are going to come and going to go. That's the era that we're in. He lost 2 elite players. JT Toppin's probably first team all Big 12, and he has done a fantastic job, retooled, playing in a tough multi-bid league, and has taken New Mexico back to the NCAA tournament. A superb job, and I'm almost sure, Jericho, who's done a great job at Utah State, but Rich Pitino has to be Coach of the Year.
You see Drew Joyce with the stat sheet in his hand, and the thing that probably stands out are his 2 stars once again. Dinkins and Crawford have combined for just 8 points in this game after 36 in the win against George Mason.
Listen, I've coached a long time. You can beat bad teams when your good players don't play well. But it is almost impossible to beat good teams when they don't play well. And that's what's happening right now. Offensively, your 2 best players are just not playing great against a quality opponent.
Dinkins the drive, and that is spiked back down to earth. VCU collapsing on defense. Shulga. Jackson thought about it. Jackson to the cup. Oh, ripped down by Wilborn. And then he chucks it down the court.
Duquesne.
Wilborn just snatched that out of the hands of Jackson.
Drew Joyce is not happy. So you got to be kidding me. That was a foul. Everyone's yelling that he got pushed. See the frustration. Look at this. Great block. Good no call. Good no call. You see the verticality on Natchez.
So VCU ball, 22, Shulga. It's a Furman. He tries to cut himself open, dancing into the corner.
Not allowing him to have any airspace either.
Wilborn, good feet, slides in front of Shulga. Clark, shot clock at 6. Clark, a feathery touch as it floats through the rim.
They just have experience. You look at the guys on the floor right now. These are all 5th year, other than Furman. They're older guys who are going to graduate. And that's what Auburn has, average age of 23. And you're talking about one of the best teams in the country. It's the reason why they have so much experience. These guys have seen it all in college basketball.
Oh, Wilborn throws it down with a one-handed hammer.
Shulga's not happy, thought he got illegally screened, and so did Ryan Odom.
Hey, Chris, we see a lot of athletes on the floor throughout the year. I have been impressed by the size, strength, and agility of Eli Wilborn throughout the evening.
Bouncy.
Yes, 12 points, great catches, big hands. He snatched rebounds and shot attempts out of midair. Shulga, Jackson cutting on the baseline. Bambasil back to Jackson.
Pass.
Jackson from the corner. No good. How about Clark climbing the ladder for the rebound?
Just flying through the air. That's what I say when they're on threes, they're long rebounds. Everyone has to turn and find someone and tag them.
Clark with 14 rebounds on the night. He sees a shot goes up. He knows it's an opportunity for a board.
And you got to realize Clark's 6'10", flying through the air. Played at Clemson when they made that nice run in the NCAA tournament. Lots of experience on that VCU ball team.
So the officials are going to take a look at the previous play. 48 left in this one. VCU 10-point lead. They have a chance to claim a share of the A-10 regular season title with a victory tonight.
And I'll say this, not their best showing. You see they're going to review this. Well, that ball definitely went out on Zeb Jackson.
And it is Duquesne ball, so it goes off the thigh of Jackson. And
from behind, Edwards from behind with the reach. But my point I was making, this has not been the best offensive display that we've seen VCU have, but they have found a way to not allow Duquesne to really get off and make this a game.
And here's what's at stake tonight. VCU at 14-2, as we mentioned, clinches a share of the A-10 regular season title with a victory this evening. And they have been aided by everybody stepping up here tonight. And we mentioned the 14 rebounds for Jack Clark. That's a new career high for him. Edwards trying to draw the foul, and he gets it against Shulga. And that is going to be the 3rd foul on Shulga.
Question is, was that a three-point shot or not? It looked like he leaned in. Not sure if his foot was on the line. He's giving him three. Looks like he's giving. They're going to take a look at it.
I'm with you. It felt a little close from our vantage point.
He leaned in.
The officials will take a look at this and see where his feet are. And for Duquesne, we mentioned they were at this point last year, 8-8 in conference play, and then ran the table, 4 wins in 4 days against the A-10 in the tournament. One more look, and
behind the line for sure.
That is a three-point shot.
Yeah.
So 3 free throws coming for Max Edwards, who's one of the better free throw shooters for Duquesne. It's 76% on the season. Currently working on 17 points on the night.
Listen, you mentioned them, what they did last year, and they had Day Grant, and they had Jimmy Clark. They had 2 tremendous guards, experienced guards, that aided them in doing what they did and made that year magical. And when I saw that team play one time, I said that team could win the A-10 and they can win a game in the tournament, and they did that. You know, we talked to Drew Joyce today too, you know, about his evolution as a coach and how he had to learn. And I told him I was going to put him on blast. I said, who's the greatest?
You asked him between LeBron. He refused to answer.
He refused to answer me. Played with LeBron in high school.
You keep that answer in the same place. They keep the recipe for a certain soft drink, 11 herbs and spices. Oh, Bama Seal with a bam of his own and an emphatic flush on the other end. Dinkins double teamed and then knocked down to the floor in the corner. So more free throws coming his way.
They're just stopping the clock and giving them a chance to score, but they're just not going to let Dinkins have anything easy. It's going to be that type of game for him tonight. He's got to go to the line and knock these down. They're going to have some pressure, full court pressure, and try to turn VCU over bigs. They're going to open up the floor as well.
It's the 5th foul on Christian Furman, so his night is over. Furman will finish with 4 points, 3 rebounds. The junior from Tobiana, Pennsylvania.
So he didn't answer the question, is that what you're saying?
He didn't. He refused to. He said, come on, you know. Which, listen, you can leave that to the interpretation of every talking head. For those of you tuning in for the New Mexico-Nevada game, you'll be able to find it streaming free on the CBS Sports app or at cbssports.com/CBSSN as soon as it begins. And, of course, we'll get you out there immediately after the conclusion of this game.
Still got to be on the lookout for this team in the A-10 tournament. You said, like, they gave VCU a fight tonight.
On a night where they didn't shoot the 3 ball very well at all. They were 3 or 14 as a team. Remember, they hit 15 against George Mason. It just wasn't their night at home to shoot the rock. And credit, of course, VCU, their defense for that, as Shulga gets fouled with 1:06 left. Now the question with VCU, are they built for March? This is a team that hasn't been to the tournament in a couple of years. Ryan Odom, of course, the upset around the world, the first ever 16 beating a 1 seed, who's the coach at UMBC. Jack Clark started on Clemson's Elite 8 team last year. We saw the experience from Shulga. He made a trip with Utah State.
Philip Russell.
Southeast Missouri State, when they made it as well, too. So you've got some veteran players that have played there before and a coach that has slayed Goliath.
And you got a veteran team that has great metrics. I'm just saying, you know, obviously I don't want to get vexed talking metrics and about the committee and how no recency bias, you know, all of the different ways. And none of us really know, as there's a dunk there, none of us really know when it gets down to those last couple of teams, that last 4 in, which makes it tough. So the best way to alleviate any doubt is to do one thing, Georgia, and that's keep winning.
Bill Bourne with the flush. He's put together an excellent game with 14 points on the night. Shulga over to Jackson, and VCU with 42 seconds remaining, just trying to let as many grains of sand drain in the hourglass.
You got to give these guys credit. Ryan Odom says,
Jackson step back 3, and that is the exclamation point for the VCU Rams, as they are just 33 seconds away from a share of the A-10 regular season title. Jackson now with 16.
They're having a fantastic year. Oh,
Dinkins,
wow.
the hardest shot of the night for him. He doesn't even touch the rim.
They're still down 8. They got to get a couple traps, maybe a turnover. I would foul the freshman too late.
Shulga up ahead, Bama Seal. Wilborn almost steals it, and Seawalk, I had you because he was about
he was coming
to
right at
dive
me.
right in your
Thank
lap.
God you saved me. That would have been a hard one to grab.
Oh, you weren't going to be grabbing anything in that
I don't know if I'd have
situation.
grabbed Wilburn on that one. He looks like Tony Gonzalez coming at you.
I would have grabbed my phone and
You'd
called
have
911 for
Oh,
you.
I'd have been done.
Shulga, double team near midcourt, and that's going to be a foul right as that ball pops out. So Shulga will head to the free throw line. No player in foul trouble for Duquesne at the moment.
Saw my light flash in front of my eyes. He was coming.
Any regrets? You know, it's
Come on, I played in the Big East. I'd have got right there.
but
I'd have got right there above the restricted and taken the charge.
The New Mexico-Nevada game is underway and now available streaming free on the CBS Sports app or at cbssports.com/CBSSN. We'll get you out there soon as this one is over. Shulga with the free throw. Bottled up somewhat in the second half. He had 15 in the first half, 7 so far here in the second, but it was really Jackson that came alive in the second half for VCU with Shulga. And this is the second.
Yeah, Shulga carried him in the first half. Jackson carried him in the second half. And they did a great job playing defense on Crawford and
long
Dinkins.
three, no good, and that should do it as the VCU Rams claim a share of the A-10 regular season title. But the work is not done as they improve to 25-5, and they have their sights set on the NCAA tournament. But first, a few more regular season games in the A-10 tournament. Duquesne credit the fight. They will drop to 8-9 in conference play. But Ryan Odom and this experienced Rams team starting to hit their stride late in the season. And at 15-2, they have clinched. You credit George Mason for giving them a run for the majority of conference play. But it's all about the Rams this night. For